Michael Savage.
Afternoons 3 to 7.
On Talk 910 KNEW.
And online at 910KNEW.com.
Warning. The Michael Savage Show contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
When I was 13 years old, my beautiful mother and my father moved me from a conservative Mormon home in San Antonio, Texas to California, and I heard the story of Harvey Milk. And it gave me hope. It gave me the hope to one day I could live my life openly as who I am, and that maybe even I could fall in love and one day get married. If Harvey had not been taken from us 30 years ago, I think he'd want me to say to all of the gay and lesbian kids out there tonight who have been told that they are less than by their churches or by the government or by their families, that you are beautiful, wonderful creatures of value.
You commie, homo-loving sons of guns.
Well, let's go to Blue Monday. I've had enough of these sickos. Go ahead.
Blue Monday, how are you, Blue Monday? Got to work like a slave all day. Here come Tuesday, oh, Tuesday. I'm so tired.
All right, it's the Savage Nation. Let's start with the trivia. Let's start with the fools of Hollywood. The Hollywood idiots of the day are none other than Sean Pencil. And that's character who wrote the story about a homosexual mayor. Frankly, I lived in the city when Harvey Milk was mayor. Big deal. I mean, other than the fact that he was gay, what did he do that's so important? You'd think he was Michelangelo, Albert Einstein, and Jonas Salk, all in one tuxedo. What did the man do other than sleep with a man? Tell me what he did. Nothing. But this shows you the distortion of people in the world of drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Eventually, it will erode your mind, your soul, and your heart. And so my headline today on michaelsavage.com and on the Savage Nation is quite direct. The Hollywood gays have hijacked the Oscars to push their agenda. What should I do? Ask you if you agree with me? I know you agree with me. And if you don't listen to the show. Go listen to NPR. Okay? Either go listen to NPR or watch that other slime ball who was up there introducing documentaries. Another genius who failed in radio. On the right side of my website, michaelsavage.com, is a much more important story. And the question is Soros running the world's economic systems? Is he the mastermind who created Obama and installed him into power? The question that I raised is, how is the Soros Fund doing these days? And I found the answer. The answer is simple. Billionaire investor and money changer in the temple of reality, George Soros, has a hedge fund. His hedge fund made 8% in 2008, while most others crashed. Now, I'm only going to ask a logical question, not because I doubt Mr. Soros' integrity. We know he's a fine man. We know he's a wonderful man. His family fled the Nazis, and the rest is history. I mean, it's a Horatio Alger story. What a wonderful human being he is, how much he's done for making certain that marijuana is not criminalized and spreading other such wonders around the planet, collapsing economies across Eastern Europe, steaming up Russia. Wonderful human being. Almost broke the Bank of England. Steamed up anti-Semitism in the world by almost breaking the Malaysian currency. A super human being. So I'm going to only ask a simple question. We were told during the Madoff scandal, which is still ongoing even though he's living in his penthouse, you know, if you stole a library book, the tax squad would come in and you'd be in jail. But Madoff allegedly stole $50 billion. He's still in his penthouse. Why? Say rotten, stinking, smelly judges in the SEC. Say a rotten system that stinks from the top to the bottom. So we were told during the Madoff scandal, weren't we, that if a man is reporting earnings while all others are reporting losses, you have to ask yourself, is it too good to be true? How could Soros' hedge fund have made 8% in 2008 while others have crashed and burned around him? Answer. Well, look, in America you can get the best politicians you can buy, they used to say. Now it's spread up to the level of the Banana Republic president that we have. We now have a Banana Republic presidency. Now, why do I say that? Well, I'll give you a few reasons, but I'll give you one specific. You want one specific? Here's one specific. Obama has insulted the United Kingdom by picking a fundraising crony, a lawyer and banker from Chicago, to be the ambassador to the United Kingdom. And they say, in the London papers are saying that raises questions about Obama's commitment to the special relationship with Britain, number one. And number two, by selecting Sussman, Mr. Sussman, a lawyer who bundled money for Obama. You hear this? He bundled money for Obama to make him president, and now he's being rewarded. They say this is exactly what's done in a Banana Republic. You pay to play. Blagojevich pay to play. Okay, so now we have Obama pay to play. You understand how this works? That's who you have as president right now. Pay to play. 1-800-449-8255 is the phone number. You're listening to the greatest show on earth, the Savage Nation. But let's go back to the Oscars, and I have to go back to the bottom of the page, my website, because, one picture is worth 1,000 words. On the bottom of michaelsavage.com, there's a picture of Meryl Streep and Sophia Loren, and the headline is, Oscars reach senility. They can't even do drag right anymore. Now, the reason I say that is if you look at the schmatas these two wore, let me take you back. Make believe, I don't know how old you are, you're all different ages, but make believe you're a person about, 50, 45. Think back to your grandmother's wedding. Think way back to your grandmother's wedding. Think of all of the oldest women there and the dresses they wore. And think of how, the mold got to you. The moths were literally flying out of the taffeta. And what it did to you as a kid, you had a freaky feeling that you were watching a horror show with those dresses. That's what these two wore. Now, Sophia Loren was once drop-dead gorgeous. Meryl Streep, also a beautiful woman in her day. Time and gravity catches up with all of us, including me. But I wouldn't go to an Oscar show wearing my grandmother's dress. This is astounding. This makes us wish for Tony Perkins in Psycho. I mean, Tony Perkins in Psycho had a nicer dress than Sophia Loren and Meryl Streep. That's all I can say. You remember the dress that he wore in Psycho, Tony Perkins in Psycho 1, when he found it up and he came down the transvestite knife job, and he wore the grandmother's dress with the moths flying out of it? That's what these two looked like. And to me, they symbolize the Oscars today. Oscars reach senility. They can't even do drag right anymore. That's why a man could get up a stumblebum phony like Sean Penn and give a speech in commie, homo, bum, homo, lonely, sons of guns, and they would laugh. Incidentally, you want to see the reality? Third lowest rated Oscars of all time. Third lowest rated Oscars of all time. I turned it on once. I turned it off within 2 minutes. I couldn't believe it. Just like a high school graduation. Now, Mickey Rourke is a far better actor than Sean Penn. We all know that. Mickey Rourke should have won, but he played an actual man rather than a switcher. Because committee. Now, you got to understand something. This is not that important a story. It's far more important to talk about Soros. Is he running the world's economic systems? But since you are a general audience and you're incapable of discussing the collapse of the economy and who actually did it to you and what they're going to do to you next, I'd rather talk about the dresses of Hollywood and the other sort of things to do with the Oscars. How many years have I been telling you that the Oscars were created in the 1930s as a trade show to gin up support for a relatively new industry called the movies? So in other words, if the karting industry has a couple of meetings a year for Garbage Men of the Year, Most Innovative Sanitation Man of the Year, that's a trade show. We all go to trade shows if you're in a business. This is no different. Only because they're larger than life on the screens, you think they're better than you are. But in fact, most of them are worse than you are. Not all, but most of those in Hollywood are worse than you. So they put on a trade show, and now they've gotten so whacked out with their insular natures that they hijacked the entire Oscar ceremony to push homosexual marriage and the homosexual agenda.